All right, guys, we have officially done something I'm really excited about. We are starting on the helicopter van life conversion. If you saw this in old videos, there weren't even blades on it, the tail wasn't on it, we transported it in. This is a old military chopper. We've already done all the paperwork to make it experimental. So we have a lot to do to this. This is going to be the bed area. I want to put in a TV and some solar pullouts and all kinds of things for camping. But since I'm on this new kick of trying to rebalance my life, has just been all work, no play. I've been trying to get back past the age of 50, realizing I need to stay in shape, do something more than just sit in an office or work on airplanes, but get out and enjoy the world. So I started hiking. Hiked the 29 miles through the Grand Canyon, rim to rim, up and down the backside twice. Hiking the mountains twice a week around here. I've lost 25 pounds. I don't know if anyone could tell or even cares, but it's just been a couple months of going hard, trying to rebalance my life with some fun and gear my body up for the future I want, which is hiking, camping, and enjoying a little bit more of the mountains. So this will be the van life, and it was awesome. We fired it up for the first time. Both engines fired up great, nice cold starts, everything's great. I got a squawk list. There's some gauges that are just a little old, kind of bouncing a little, indications are a little off. I need to make sure that I get those replaced, see if it's something with the engine, or if it's just the gauge is sticky, which is what it appears to be. But we're gonna start working on this while also working on Draco. But since we're doing a van life, I thought I'd do a test run on this. So yeah, I just bought a new van, just muddied it up, did a couple of 14ers in Colorado this last week. If you don't know what 14ers are, there's 54 mountains above 14,000 feet in Colorado, and I want to hike every one of them. So I just did a couple. This is only, I think, 7 days old. I've covered in mud, went all kinds of places off-road, and realized I'm gonna do some mods to this, AC, batteries, lots of solar, a few things. If you care to see me do a little bit of conversion on a very minimalist style van conversion, let me know, but we'll also do the van. So my idea is test run a van life conversion with a van, then do it to the chopper, and then down the road when the new hangar's finished out on our development, we're gonna fly in the Albatross we bought and do a mega van camping life conversion to that. So this is my entry level to a new healthier life. Next level, Albatross, final ultimate goal, touring the Caribbean islands in a van lifestyle plane, flying boat. So I hope you guys like this silliness. I'm super excited. We'll get started. Let me know if you want to see these on the channel. We'll see you soon. Back to work. It's physics, math, and engineering. Machine it, draft it, build it, test it, break it. Every time something new gets built, the entire world advances. Laying in bed at night, it's designing new parts, designing new suspension, designing new wings. All right, guys, I just ripped 8 pieces of just over 1/8 inch plywood. So it's already got multiple plies, and then we're gonna make it go 8 times. What I'm doing is on the Sprinter vans, there's 5 locations, 1 at the front, 1 at the back, and 3 more in the middle where there's a large span on the roof. And I don't like how the roof waves. So I've already added a layer of thin plywood under the entire thing, put a bonding glue, and then riveted it. And then also I riveted all the main beams. If you walk on the roof, I know this is a lot of overkill, but I really want to be able to walk around on the roof, and I really want to off-road this thing hard and twist this frame. And so I want to get all the mounting points possible for my cabinets, and there's places that are missing. So I'm adding 5 more locations where I can really grab a hold of that roof. And the way I'm going to do it is put these in where the metal beams aren't, and it's like building a micro lamb. I can bend it, and the ends change significantly in length with the arc. So I'm gonna put a center bolt through the middle, then I'll pull it apart, glue them all, push it back together, bolt it, then I'll go up in the van and I'll bend this to match the exact shape of the van, and then I'll put the rest of the bolts through it and let it dry that way. When it's done, I'll have a 2-inch wide micro lam or glue lam beam arced to match the roof to give me those 5 more locations. Also at the front of the van and the back of the van, you've got a beam, but right at the back, there isn't something really good to terminate your roofing to on either end. And so this will give me my termination to get a good anchor at the ends and those extra spots in the middle. So I got 5 glue lams to make. Back to work. On this floor is I'm going to bring up an inch of foam, but first I'm going to put a sound deadening on the entire bottom. Then I'm going to put down an aluminum track. I'm using a thicker aluminum. It's not going to add that much more weight, and there's other areas I'm going to save a lot of weight, but this track is going to chase the entire perimeter and then lines down the middle. It's going to serve multiple purposes. The foam in the middle has good compression strength with like a 3/8 inch plywood on top of it. But if you were to push on the corner, you'll collapse it. And so I've seen vans where the corners, they edge protected, but they use a really thin aluminum, and over time, they keep squishing it more and more, and then the screws come loose, but it's not that the screw came out, it's that the foam collapsed. And then you get this loose door edge, and then as soon as the first time you sweep and dirt goes under it, it just pushes it down till the next time you squish it, it goes more and more, and it keeps filling up with debris. So I want to get these edges really solid. I haven't seen this done, but I think this will work well. I'm using an 1/8 inch aluminum. And as you can see, I just added this little shoe box and also where the cabinet's going to go. But I can slide this across the ribs. And if you look, I just made this so that it will slide across, and I'm just routering out just enough to get this to plane perfectly across the floor. Then I'll cut this and I'll V-cut out of it the exact amount that I can bend this and make it bend and fill itself back up and chase around. I can weld, grind, and make a solid aluminum edge that chases this. After that, I can just embed the 1-inch foam inside the aluminum frame. The other thing you're going to see me do is when I get the support ribs coming all the way through the middle this way, every so often, it's going to give me extra strong support where I'm going to bolt my cabinet. So when I bolt things down, it has something to stop against that does not move and become loose later. The idea here is I'm going to beat the crap out of this van. And so many of them, if they actually really abuse it and twist the frame and make it go do off-road things, which is my intention, not just look like it's going to go off-road, all that stuff starts to work loose if you haven't got it really bolted down. So this frame, I won't just self-tap it into the bottom pan. I'm going to initially set it by just running self-tappers. Then I'll pull them out and I'll put in stainless steel bolts, go on the underside with nylocks, large washers, and I'm gonna bolt this frame together. A lot of times self-tappers, and it is standard, I'm not knocking it, I just wanna go a little overkill here, is as soon as one pulls out, the next one and the next one start working loose. Nothing ever comes out. It will really never be a problem, but it will make a lot of noise. It will rattle, things will get looser and looser. So I want everything to be bolted. I want this to be so solid that if, heaven forbid, I rolled this van or tipped it over, I want my cabinets, my frame, and my aluminum substructure to hold the walls up, not cabinets tumbling inside the vehicle with me. So it's a little overkill. That's the goal. Let's get an aluminum frame, insulated bottom, trim it out, back to work. All right, so just little simple things like a router to take down a 1/4 inch, not quite a 1/4 inch, but the edge of the van, if anyone's worked on these floors before, the outer edge has a little high lip, especially around the wheel wells. And a lot of times I see people just put the foam all the way out and then put everything down on it. It actually just makes a little lip and then your cabinets sit funny. So just a little extra work. The aluminum frame is going to fix it too because I'm bringing everything up to a true new level, but I want this foam to sit well, so I carved this just a little bit low. I'll put dabs of glue in it, squish it down in. This will go straight and the aluminum bars will be perfectly straight. So this will get my cabinets all level. That's working. All right, guys, recap on the installation on this van. I'm trying to make sure that my solar system can run air conditioning 24 hours a day, and build up enough charge during that time frame to continue running 2 air conditioners all night long if I need to. So I'll go into more of that later in the testing process. On the floor recap, I filled in all the voids with insulation. Then I put aluminum tracks to make a new subfloor that allows me to bolt this floor down tight so it doesn't vibrate. And then I put down a pink 1-inch insulation between the huge aluminum subframe. Then I put down a vapor barrier on top of that, this red, and then I bolted down the 3/8-inch floor. That's how I got the floor insulated. I still need to put down another pad in the final flooring, which will add a little more to the floor. The walls, I did a 1-inch torn off piece of house insulation that's either 3.5 or 5.5 inches wide. I tore off little strips and I spray glued it to the metal of the wall, which isn't much insulation, but it wasn't about that insulation. It's about making sure that the main insulation I'm using, which is a closed cell spray foam, expandable foam that gets into every nook and cranny, I needed to give a spot where the metal could expand and contract when you get out in the sun. And so the little bit of house insulation glued to the metal wall filled the entire void with this purple closed cell spray foam insulation, allows the van to move in the heat. As the sun heats the side, that metal expands, it needs to move. You're going to get waves and ripples if you just go spray foam direct to the metal. So that's how I avoid that rippling effect and still get the benefit of a fully sealed spray foam that gets in every nook and cranny and inside all the beams and closes it out tight. After I did that on the wall, I trimmed it clean, put on a 1/4-inch padded insulation foil wrapped it and foil taped it tight so there's no moisture going into the wall on any of this. After that, we'll do the wood and another padding, so get 2 more layers on top of that. The ceiling is a little more complex on a lot of the roofs. You're going to notice I have a lot more beams in my roof. If you saw earlier, I showed how I made these wood beams out of layering a whole bunch of layers, making a glulam beam that's in an arch, and when that glue dries, it stays in that perfect shape. This van's crazy. You can get on the roof, jump on it, run around on it, nothing moves. It's extremely solid on the roof. And even the void between the beams that are now tiny, this big instead of that big, I put wood inside there. Now that wood I spaced down with little washers, and I made an air gap so that the hot metal roof has a little air void before my wood subframe. Then after that, I put on this bubble wrap. I want to make another air void. This bubble wrap is very different than this 1/4-inch foam. This bubble wrap, as I push it tight and tape it all off, it literally makes an air gap where the air can't move around because it's trapped in the bubbles. And that makes a really good block for radiant heat or heat that's actually conductive passing through materials. Every time you get an air gap, we all know that makes a big benefit. So I did the bubble wrap, foiled it. Then on the ceiling, you can see I added this. The next layer I'm going to put on is a different style of wrap. This one I'm using because it's more compressible than the bubble. And I'm going to wrap this all the way across the ceiling, foil tape it in, keep the moisture from going inside. But what's nice is then when I bolt the thin layer of wood for my roofing on top, everywhere I put a screw, it'll pinch it tight, and everywhere between the beams, it'll just recess into this little 1/4-inch gap I have. And so that will just fill that void and pinch between. It'll also make sure I don't get that squeak and that noise that some roofs make when you go off the road that drives me nuts. So that's a different wrap. After I get that done, we'll put the wood up. Then we're going to go back to the same vapor barrier we used on the floor that will glue to the wood top. Then on top of that, that adds another layer of insulation. Then we go to 1/4-inch padded foam for upholstery, and then the leather foam wrap. So we'll get almost 6 different little mini layers, all isolated and separated from each other on the roof. So we should have about as tight as we can get. The reason I put so much effort into the insulation on this and all the different layers and air stops is I'm trying to get that extra 10, 15, 20% efficiency so that my AC has a chance to keep up off just solar alone, never operating a generator. So I got to grab every single percent possible. So we're being really efficient, no air gaps, no leaks, multiple layers, and I don't want one solid mass that the heat soak can pass through. I want air gap breaks multiple times to slow that process and allow the AC inside to hold it at bay within the wall, not on the wall inside the van, warming up the edges. So that's the goal. We have a lot to do. It's fun. Back to work. Project like this is a series of a bunch of 1 hour projects. We're gonna isolate the bedroom, build a double pane. We got a lot to do. Back to work. I haven't even lifted it yet. This will go up